Ada Lovelace wrote a computer program at a time when the word computer referred to a human being with a pen. She described machines that could follow abstract instructions, manipulate symbols, and even create music in an era when electricity itself was still treated as a scientific curiosity. And almost no one around her understood what she was talking about. Not because her ideas were vague, not because she lacked clarity, but because she was speaking from a century that had not arrived yet. Ada Lovelace did not invent a machine. She invented a way of thinking, one that would only become useful long after she was gone. And this is the part history tends to soften. Being right did not save her. It isolated her, it destabilized her, and it quietly destroyed her life. Because seeing the future too clearly does not make you powerful. It makes you unlivable in the present. Ada Lovelace was born on December 10th, 1815, into a family already fractured by reputation and fear. Her father was Lord Byron, the most scandalous poet of his generation, a man whose genius was inseparable in the public imagination from excess, instability, and danger. Her mother, Annabella Milbanke, believed Byron's imagination was not merely romantic, but pathological. And from the moment Ada was born, Annabella made a quiet but fateful decision. Her daughter would never be allowed to become like him. Just weeks after Ada's birth, her parents separated. Byron left England soon afterward and would never see his daughter again. Ada did not grow up missing a father in the conventional sense. She grew up under the weight of a warning that imagination, if left unchecked, could ruin a life. To protect her daughter from inherited madness, Annabella turned to mathematics. Logic, geometry, and formal reasoning became Ada's daily environment. Introduced from early childhood not as tools of curiosity, but as instruments of control. Poetry was discouraged. Music was restricted. Emotion was treated with suspicion. Yet the strategy failed in the most ironic way possible. Mathematics did not suppress Ada's imagination. It refined it. Numbers became, for her, a language capable of expressing patterns beneath chaos, harmony beneath uncertainty. Where others saw sterile abstraction, she perceived elegance and possibility. Later, she would describe her method as poetical science, a fusion of rigorous logic and imaginative reach. It was not that she lacked creativity. It was that she learned to hide it inside structure. Ada's intellectual growth was relentless. Her physical health was not. Throughout her childhood and adolescence, she suffered severe headaches, chronic weakness, and recurring illness. As a teenager, she contracted a disease so serious that she was partially paralyzed and confined to bed for nearly a year. Pain and isolation became constants. And yet, during this period of confinement, something revealing occurred. At just 12 years old, Ada became consumed by the idea of human flight. She studied birds with obsessive care, sketched wing designs, tested materials, and calculated lift and resistance. She compiled her findings into a handwritten manuscript she titled Flyology. This was not childish fantasy. It was the first clear sign of a mind that refused to separate imagination from mechanism. As Ada entered adolescence, the traits her mother feared most began to surface. She was intense, curious, emotionally volatile, and drawn to risk. She formed secret relationships, plotted escapes, and lived a double life beneath her mother's surveillance. Annabella went so far as to monitor her correspondence and employ informants to report on Ada's behavior. From this, Ada learned a crucial lesson early. Truth was safest when hidden. Secrecy would become second nature, not only in her personal life, but in her intellectual one as well. In 1833, at a society gathering, Ada met a man few found compelling, Charles Babbage. Babbage was obsessed with a theoretical device, the analytical engine, designed to automate calculation. Most people saw it as an eccentric curiosity. Ada immediately recognized something else. She did not see a calculator. She saw a symbolic machine. Where others imagined faster arithmetic, Ada imagined abstraction. She understood that numbers could represent not just quantities, but ideas, music, language, logic itself. This distinction mattered more than anyone realized. When Ada translated a paper on the analytical engine written by Luigi Minabrea, she did far more than render it into English. She appended extensive notes, additions so substantial that they were 3 times longer than the original text. In Note G, she described a precise sequence of operations by which the machine could calculate Bernoulli numbers. This was not merely a calculation. It was an algorithm. In modern terms, it was the first computer program in history. Even more remarkably, Ada also articulated a limitation. Machines, she argued, could not originate ideas. They could follow instructions, but they did not possess intention or understanding. This insight would later be known as the Lovelace objection, a foundational concept in debates about artificial intelligence. She signed the paper AL, using initials to avoid immediate dismissal in a scientific world deeply suspicious of female intellect. Despite the originality of her work, Ada faced systemic exclusion. She was denied access to institutions such as the Royal Society's library. Even while her husband was granted membership, her ideas were often attributed to Babbage. Her role minimized. Her intellect questioned. Yet Babbage himself acknowledged the truth. He built the machine. Ada explained its meaning. She saw not just what the engine did, but what it could become. In the 1840s, Ada's belief in mathematics took a dangerous turn. Convinced that probability could be mastered, she became deeply involved in gambling, particularly horse racing. She attempted to design mathematical systems that could defeat chance itself. They failed, catastrophically. She lost over 3,000 pounds, the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of pounds today, and was eventually forced to confess everything to her husband. It was the dark mirror of her genius, a mind that believed everything could be calculated, except human vulnerability. As her health deteriorated, Ada's thoughts turned once again toward the future. Doctors prescribed opiates to manage her pain. By the early 1850s, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer. Even then, her imagination did not retreat. She became obsessed with modeling the human brain mathematically, envisioning what she called a calculus of the nervous system. She hoped to reduce consciousness itself to structure and rule. She was still trying to understand everything. On August 30th, 1852, Ada summoned her husband and confessed a secret that remains undocumented. Whatever she told him, he left her bedside and never returned. She died on November 27th, 1852, at the age of 36. Her final request was to be buried beside the father she had never known. It took nearly 100 years for Ada Lovelace's work to be fully understood. Today, her ideas underpin modern computing, programming, and even debates about artificial intelligence. She did not build the future. She imagined it, and the cost of that imagination was a life lived out of sync with its time. Ada Lovelace did not fail despite her genius. She failed because she saw too far, too soon, and no one knew how to meet her there.